Sounds great. Before we begin, do you mind? I'm doing hot ones in a couple of weeks, and I thought I would take a test one and do a couple wings to see how I handle it in a couple of weeks. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
Wait, thank you. Okay, I'm ready.
Definitely. Frankie the Kid comedian. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Let me dive into these wings real quick so we can get the interview started. Hmm, it's not bad. It's kind of lemony. About it's not too spicy yet. Oh,
Oh,
it'll get spicier, I'm sure, but yeah.
what's your favorite kind of wings?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What's your favorite kind of wings? I like lemon pepper. Like, how about yourself?
It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question. I would say probably Buffalo, but it's
Okay,
an interesting question, and I appreciate it.
definitely. Where are you from originally?
Originally, um, yeah, originally I'm from the. Oh, I get it now. It's I feel it a little bit. It's get um, originally I'm born and raised in Chicago.
Okay.
Hmm.
And when did you start doing comedy?
One second, sorry about that. Um, well, I started when I was about 4 or 5 years old. My dad was a comedian in Chicago, but and he had a lot of potential. But his career was cut short. He tore his ACL, and also he made some comments about the Iran Contra affair. But he was my inspiration for a while. As soon as I could walk, my dad was bringing me to open mics every night, 2 or 3 a night. I was 4 or 5 years old. Yeah, I wasn't even legally allowed to drink, and I was in these open mics, and my dad we were in a trench coat, like a trench coat. But he was on top. But yeah, I mean that was my wife, right? From the school to the bars to the open mics, and over time I got better and better. Went from mics to shows, to clubs, and finally, yeah, now I'm here and happy to be talking to you, Wayne.
Definitely. What was it like? Starting out doing comedy. How did you know like this is something you wanted to pursue like as a career?
So it's hard to concentrate when the wings are. Uh, um, a good question. I think probably when 9/11 happened, it was a turning point for me. I saw this country was in distress, and yeah, I knew I had. I it was then, I was only 5 or 6 years old. I knew I had to. I knew I had to really dedicate my life to something meaningful at that point in time.
Right. Yeah, 9/11, like was a pivotal point, for a lot of people. Like I can remember, where I was, the day it happened. Do you still remember, even being that young where you were?
Yes, I remember. I remember. Yeah, I do remember. I was Yeah, I was in preschool. Yeah, it was scary. It was definitely really scary, especially when my mom came and picked me up. Yeah, and I knew I had to go. There was a group of people who needed comedy now, so I performed overseas for Al Qaeda for 2 years, and then I came back to the States, and that's when I got into America's Got Talent, and that's when the ball started to get a bit more. It started to get swollen. It was really hot. I'm sorry. It's hard to concentrate. It's really hard to concentrate. I
Uh,
Yeah.
America's Got Talent, man. That seems like a really good experience. What was that like?
Uh I met a lot of great people there. Wine Sequest. Yeah, we had some fun nights. I wasn't really allowed to hang out with him one on one, due to my age and other sort of like allegation stuff. But it was a really fun time. Yeah, I mean, I'm a lucky guy. I admit that. I admit not a lot of guys are here talking to you in this point in their career. I get it. I'm a lucky guy. So yeah, it's been incredible.
Definitely, man. Who are some of the people that inspired you to do comedy? I know like Chicago has a rich comedian history. I think of like the Second City Improv. Like a bunch of like different stand up comedians. Like even like contemporary ones like Josh Johnson. Like
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of great comedians in the city. It's a comedy town. That's why I tell people. I tell people it's a comedy town. Oh, it's really hot. It's really hot. Now I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it. Oh, I'm starting to feel it. Ooh. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just um Andrew Dice Clay. That's my number one guy.
oh,
Um, I remember I was in the car with my parents, 5 years old. They put it on, Radio XM, and he does this bit about I know I'm not sure if I can say the word here on radio or TV or wherever we are,
oh
but
yeah, free speech.
free speech. Yeah, and that's something also I for sure. Yeah, he was talking about coming, and as a 5 year old, it was just still I still found it very funny, and yeah, I'm glad my parents exposed me to that at a very, 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 very young age. Andrew Schultz is a Andrew Schultz is a guy nowadays who I look up to. We started together doing Kristen comedy. Um, and so that was really fun. It was good to meet him. And he was, a Wascal back then, and he's still a Wascal now. And I text him all the time. He's a Wascal. But yeah, Jeff Dunham too with the puppets. Incredible. I could never think of that. And DraftKings. I really admire DraftKings. I admire what they've been able to do in the sports betting industry.
Definitely. All those comedians like are really hilarious. Do you actually gamble? You mentioned DraftKings.
From time to time, for sure. I mean, it's not a great hobby. It's not my most proudest hobby, but I do from time to time.
Are you a sports fan? Like like the Bears, Cubs, like being from Chicago, like
No,
none of the Chicago teams are you fans of, or
no. Next question, please, Wayne.
okay. What's next? I see you like perform some shows and stuff in the past in Peoria. What was that experience like? Going downstate.
Well, Wayne, I know it's traditional for the last dab to put a little bit extra sauce on it, and I'm not gonna back out now. Oh, it's a regret. It's not. One minute.
Okay.
Oh, um,
Those must be hot.
why I don't know how you do this every week. I'm sorry. What was the question? Oh, I can't even think right now. What was the question?
How was it? Like I know you just did some shows. I think like you went to Peoria. What was that like?
Um, Peoria was incredible. I had a really great time. Yeah, I had a really great time in Peoria. It was really fun doing it with Ian Abramson from Conan. It was incredible to do that with him and to meet the people of Peoria. Like I say, I love traveling and seeing all my fans everywhere. And it's great. It's great to go to Peoria. Jukebox, no different.
Definitely. What's next for you in your career?
It's hard. It's hard to think about that. It's kind of like asking somebody on top of Mount Everest, what's the next mountain to climb? I'm like, kind of done it all at this point. I'd love to do a couple of venues. I'd love to do Madison Square. I'd love to do Madison Square. I'd love to do United Center and my buddy's Bar and Grill. These are big venues I'd love to a one day do. But for now, I'm actually dabbling a little bit in music. So look forward to maybe a Frankie EP coming soon. I'm in the studio. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. But
Oh,
yeah,
what kind of genre of music are you
a,
recording?
a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. I'm a big fan of music in general, really. R&B, kind of more experimental, maybe a little more kind of instrumental, kind of for so it was an Aphex Twin, sort of Aphex Twin, sort of yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. We'll see what comes of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Comedian Matt Rife, he recently complained about being attractive isn't helping his comedy career. Do you feel like being too attractive can hurt your comedy career?
Take it from me, it definitely can. It definitely can. A lot of people not give me the time of day just because I'm, what God gave me up here, which isn't fair. And it's quite frankly should be illegal. Should be illegal. A lot of people should be in prison. Sorry, back to you, Ryan.
Definitely. Where did you get the name Frankie the Kid Comedian?
Oh, that's a great question. My name is Frankie. Kid comedian. I do kid comedy. So yeah, Frankie kid comedian.
Definitely. So you're for the kids?
I wouldn't say that. I think I'm for everyone. I'm for everyone. I'm bringing kid comedy to the masses. Yeah, I'm bringing kid
What
comedy to the
what
masses.
exactly is kid comedy?
That's a great question. I'm really glad you asked that, Ryan. And I do gotta go in a little bit, but yeah, kid comedy is sort of any if you sort of talk, in a big suit and you kind of doing jokes like that in a big suit, and sort of in a voice like this is sort of that's generally what experts consider kid comedy. It does vary from region to region, especially I know in you go to the Far East, sort of like Asia area, they have a slightly different definition, and so does Europe and South America. It varies, but in general, the big suit and the voice like this.
Definitely. Frankie the Kid Comedian. I won't hold you any longer, but thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, Wayne. Can I plug something before I head out of here?
Yeah, most definitely.
I got a show November 30th at the Hideout. G.E.E.Z. Get tickets today. It's gonna be a really fun time. November 30th, 9 p.m. Thursday at the Hideout. Thank you, Ryan.
Definitely, Frankie.
See ya.